So one of my clients actually suggested that I do a movie review of Groundhog Day. So I went back and watched this oldie but goodie from 1993, and I agreed with her. I did think it would be a good movie review to do in relation to The Other Side. So thank you very much for the suggestion. I really appreciate it. This is a spoiler alert for everyone. I do talk about the storyline, so if you haven't seen it, please go back and watch it because it is very cute, and I think there's a lot to learn here. Um, Bill Murray's character, Phil, is a weatherman, and he has been given an assignment to go to Puxatawny and cover the story of the groundhog coming out, seeing his shadow, and kind of determining when spring is going to begin that year, right? And he's annoyed with the assignment, and we as the audience immediately see his ego. He looks at the people of Puxatawny and looks down on them and, views himself as the talent and this celebrity, and he's up here and everyone else is down here, and they're just a bunch of hicks. And, the hostess of his bed and breakfast, he asks her if she has espresso or cappuccino to offer her guests, and then questions whether or not she's even able to spell espresso or cappuccino. And he's just really rude, and he even walks by a homeless guy asking him for money. He ignores him, and we just kind of get a feel for his character, right? And when Bill Murray realizes that he's living the same day over and over again, he asks himself, what if there's no tomorrow? There's absolutely no consequences to any of my actions. I can do whatever the heck I want. And so he ends up taking advantage of the situation, and he does do whatever he wants because this day just keeps repeating over and over again. And we see him drive like a maniac on train tracks where he ends up playing chicken with a train. And he says, I'm not going to live by their rules anymore, and just acts really rebellious. He eats whatever he wants without consequence. He dumps like the entire pot of coffee down his throat. He eats donuts, fast food. He stops flossing. He steals money from an armored vehicle. He starts smoking. He ends up wooing women. He kisses the bed and breakfast hostess. He punches his annoying classmate in the street, in the face when he approaches him on the street. And we see him just acting rebellious, right? Because he can. He's doing all this stuff because he can. There's no consequence at all whatsoever. Because he just keeps living the same day over and over again and waking up back in his bed as if nothing had happened. So he also uses this opportunity to woo his producer, Andie MacDowell, and her character name is Rita. But he just can't seem to get it together. Like, despite having this advantage where he's able to gain all of this knowledge about her and then use it the next day and the next day and the next day to his advantage, he just can't seem to get it together. Like, Rita still doesn't like him, and we see her just continuously slap him across the face over and over again. So he keeps failing. And he actually decides to kill himself over and over again just to test it and see if, it actually takes. And it doesn't. He wakes up, every morning like nothing happened, but, he drives his car off a cliff and it explodes. He drops a toaster in the bathtub. He jumps off a building. And finally, after all this having absolutely no effect, he still lives. He decides to level with Andie MacDowell's character, Rita. And he tells her what's been going on. He tells her that he keeps living the same day over and over again, and that he sees himself as a jerk, and he thinks he's cursed. And it actually becomes a turning point in the movie because he's totally honest with her. And instead of her seeing it as a curse, she tells him to view it differently and see it as an opportunity. And something clicks in his brain where he actually does change his perspective and his behavior, where he ends up using his powers for good. And he decides to use this knowledge that he's gained from living the same day over and over again in order to help others. And so it turns from self-interest to how can I help others? And so he starts taking an interest in his job. He reports with less sarcasm. He asks his coworker how he's doing. And he demonstrates less ego and starts acting more down to earth, doesn't view himself as above everyone else anymore. He starts taking piano lessons. He learns ice sculpture. And he ends up saving people's lives because he has this knowledge. He's able to prevent accidents. So he goes so far as to save people's lives. He helps the homeless guy. He hugs his old classmate that approaches him on the street. He starts giving a crap. And he opens his heart to humanity and becomes more sincere, authentic, and warm. Now, people are actually noticing this and appreciating this. So everyone starts responding to his good deeds with love, support, appreciation, gratitude, hugs, right? Thank you so much. You saved my life. Thank you so much. You helped me. And so all of that good energy that he's putting out there is coming back to him, right? People are seeing it and appreciating him. So at this point, he also starts getting along with Rita because he's being his authentic self instead of trying too hard. And he tells her he loves her, and suddenly the cycle is broken. And the day isn't repeating anymore. It's tomorrow. He wakes up next to Rita, and he realizes that that's it. He's out of that energy. It's tomorrow. He did it. And I thought this was very representative of how the other side works, because oftentimes we'll get stuck in energies, repeating patterns, cycles, where we just can't seem to get out of it. And that's where I want you to ask yourself, is there something that you're supposed to be learning from this? Because do you see how Phil became more in touch with himself and became more authentic and aware, and he opened his heart to others and they responded positively to him? Like, Phil had lessons to learn. And so it wasn't until he learned those particular lessons, made the free will decision to change his behavior, that he broke the cycle and got out of that energy. Well, that's actually how the universe works. Is the universe is all about soul's growth. So you can get stuck in these particular energies where you are, supposed to learn something and grow and evolve as a soul. So you will stay stuck in that energy cycle repeating pattern or wherever until you learn it. Then when you make the free will decision to make those changes or whatever, that's when the energy breaks, right? So this is actually a lot like how the universe works. We get stuck sometimes in certain energies, and there's a reason for that. It's because we're not learning. So the next time you find yourself stuck, I encourage you to take out that magnifying glass and take a closer look. What am I not seeing? What am I not doing? What am I not learning from this situation? Because it just might be you and your free will that's keeping you stuck in this cycle. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.